What's up, everybody, and welcome down to another episode of Zetro's Toxic Vault. I don't know if it's going to be a really true traditional episode. I think this is like a special episode as far as I'm concerned for what we're all about ready to learn. As you know, my guest here, you know him all so well, Metalheads, Mr. Craig Locicero. And I've been contacted about Mr. Locicero has something to tell everybody. I already know, but Craig, good to have you in.
Thanks.
Glad you picked my show to kind of spill the beans.
There's some beans to be spilled, and people have been, it's been a little coy for the last week because we started an Instagram page. Well, I started an Instagram page, Forbidden. And the first thing we did is put up the letter F, and then people got really, really up in arms as what are you starting a page for now? So as each day has progressed, now we're all the way up to the second D in Forbidden. And in one more day, well, actually 2 more days, it'll be E and Forbidden will be back. We have plans. We're playing again. We had a reason why this came up. It's not something that I'd planned. I didn't see this coming, people. I've been telling people that, like anyone that asks me that knows, I swear to God, I did not see this coming. I never thought I'd do Forbidden without Russ Anderson, which is something we're going to get into, because Russ is my brother. Russ is my mentor, not like El Duce, but like a cleaner version of a mentor. But Russ has been my guy since 1985, and he's retired. He doesn't want to do it. He's sober. He's happy. He's still got some health problems, and so I never thought I'd do it. And then a matter of amazing circumstances all piled on top of each other, and then I was like, well, fuck, if the universe keeps telling me to do this, I've got to listen to the universe. There was more than 100 different things that kind of laid into it, and a few major strokes just made it where it was inevitable. I just had to listen to the universe.
Was it putting Interthrational together and replaying those songs that had a little bit to do with it, and the players involved did that have anything to do with it?
It did peripherally, and I think I said that right. I just kind of. What had happened is when we did the Interthrational rehearsals, the whole premise of that is nobody that owns the song, that wrote the song, that played the song on the record can play their own song. So, we had people doing Forbidden songs, we had people doing violent songs, we had people doing Exodus, we had people, you get the picture. So it came down to rehearsals, and we didn't have a singer here that was good enough to do all the songs that was going to be in Europe, because the main singers in Europe were going to be Mark Osegueda and Caton from Hyrax and from Death Angel Mark, and also, Randy from Lamb of God, and a couple other folks were going to do it. So we didn't have a guy. So Chris Contos, who was, playing with me, Interthrational at all the rehearsals, so why don't you give Skinner a call? I said, oh, Skinner, Norman Skinner, yeah, he's fucking great. That guy's really good. Not really too deep in all of his projects, but just know him from the past, know that, Russ used to point him out from the crowd and go, Little Russ, I remember that. Like these little things I remembered. But we had him come in and he sang at the practice, and it was fucking great. And I was like, oh, he's really, really good. Yeah. I'm all, why don't we do the Forbidden song that we're going to play in Europe? Not really thinking about it, like none of us here are going to be playing that, but we should go over it right now. And we did, and everyone had left the room except for the 4 guys who were last in Forbidden and Skinner, and we started doing Off the Edge. And when we started doing it, the door opens, and Chris Contos is like, ooh, and he just closed the door real quick, and I'm like, yeah, I hear it. He sounded fucking dead on, but he had his own flair. He had his own little swagger and confidence, and from what he told me later on, he was nervous as fuck to actually sing that song. Wasn't nervous about much else, but when I said, let's do the Forbidden song, he was like, oh, because it was his favorite band. We were his favorite thrash band. He liked the melodic stuff. He's just a guy who leans into more of the classic metal, So, okay, I was like, okay. But I didn't think it was going to happen even then, brother. I swear to God, I was like, that's cool. Moving on. So we went to Europe without him. We did the shows without him. We came back to do our rehearsals for here, and I wanted the guys in Warbringer to do Chalice of Blood, because like, I was bringing up some bands to play this thing, and I thought, well, I should have them do it with Skinner. And Skinner did a bunch of songs and was great at everything. But at that rehearsal the night before, I watched them all play it with him singing it, and I was like, holy fuck. And then, I got the look from everyone in the room. Everyone gave me the look. It was kind of a unanimous thing. Like, it was, maybe I was the last one to see it. I might have been, I might have been the last guy to actually accept it. And I go, fuck, he was good. And then they did the show, and I'm standing on the side of the stage watching, and I was like, this is uncanny how fucking good he is at commanding the crowd, singing the song with fucking conviction because he grew up with it. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And I still didn't accept it. It wasn't until probably about a month ago, things were kind of grinding a little bit in my camp, in one of my band's camps, and I was just like, I should fucking probably entertain thinking about this. And then the next day, we get an email from Europe, and Alcatraz is inquiring to see if we want to take Anthrax's spot at the Alcatraz Festival and do a 35th anniversary of Forbidden Evil. And they even suggested, and I'm not kidding, this was an actual suggestion, would you be interested in doing it with another singer since Russ is now retired, and could you possibly get Chris Kontos on drums? And I said, that's it. That's all I need. That's the reason. That's the final straw on the camel's back to at least make me realize I have to have something out in front of me to shoot for to start making this whole thing happen, right?
Is Alcatraz going to be an exclusive?
It's an exclusive. It's the
you
only
can't play in, or you can't.
the
play
only
in
show we're doing in Europe this
not
year.
Not even a one-off at a club somewhere. A week
Well, we
later?
might do a warm-up show. We're still discussing that, but that's it. But that would be brought to you by Alcatraz, letting us do a warm-up show.
Right.
But other than that, that would be it. For this year in Europe, that is it. Next year, this is not news that everyone knows, but we all know how these promoters talk in Europe, and how the club, or I should say the festival promoters, all discuss stuff. We're getting offers from a lot of them already, like soft, like, hey, I'm hearing this and that. And it's funny, we ran into Ola. I'm sure you know Ola.
Of course.
And he was there at the NAMM show, and me and Chris walked up, and this is exactly how it went. He takes one look at Chris, and he goes, oh, like a kid, dude. I watched a kid turn out of this 6'4" man. And he looked at Chris, he's all, oh my God. He's all, I can't believe you're here, And then he looks at me, he goes, I just heard Forbidden's coming to Sweden next year from a promoter. I'm like, no one told me. Nobody told me. But I would imagine that they talk. And then, we explained to him that Chris Kontos is going to be the drummer in this version of Forbidden. If you're wondering where Mark is, Mark quit in 2011 because he had family stuff going on, and he had to leave for his family reasons. And for the same reason, he couldn't do it again anyway. He's got his shit going on. So
he was cool with doing Interthrational, but that's about to the limit of it.
yeah, he can't. Yeah, he just can't commit to whole bunches of stuff.
Cool.
It's hard on him.
Well, good.
Yeah, it's hard on him. So and I've been playing with Chris for
Not
two.
for everybody.
No, it's not. I've been playing
for
with Chris for
everybody.
2 years with the boneless ones anyway, which has been fucking great because it kind of feels like boot camp again, getting part of the thrash chops back, constantly playing fast. The thing is, when Forbidden did it the first time, and you were instrumental in that, just putting it in my head from watching that movie Get Thrashed in 2007. Because that was the guy, and I've said this in the old interview, you guys can go back and watch, but he's like tapping me on the legs. I was, see, Craigie? See? And I was like, okay. So I thought about it then. But that time, I kind of wasn't as ready. No, I'm good. I wasn't as ready as I am now. I mentally, physically, I'm in a better spot. I'm in, a better headspace. Much more thrash has gone between the lines since then. It's not like I'm coming in after playing rock for 10 years exclusively like I kind of was then,
It's funny that it's kind of cliche, but you can always say, you can always go home.
Yeah.
And it's the truth. And with music, I mean, I've experienced this because, again, I've been in Exodus. I'm a 3-time loser, baby. I've been in and out of this band 3 different times. So to be on the outside and look in and be on the outside and look in and know what the fans are thinking and know what they feel. And there's fans out there that if they don't already know, because people know, people are listening, they know, they're speculating. There's an excitement level. There's going to be some fans that Forbidden is their favorite band. They're going to shit their fucking pants when they finally realize that it's real, because to these people, this is what they have. Music is what they have. Their bands are what they have. And when their bands go away or they lose members, there's a little piece of them that goes with them. But when their bands come back and their bands are fully into it and they're ready to do it and ready to nail it,
you said,
complete excitement about it.
What you said, I want to hit on that point, because that's the thing. I mean, I have no delusions of grandeur. I don't think Forbidden was a huge band by any stretch of the imagination, but I do know where we sit. You know, there's a Mount Rushmore, and we're like the fifth head that sits on the outside somewhere. You know, like
I'm not even on the heads.
Yeah, you are.
I don't.
The bands are. What I mean, the bands are. None of us as individuals are. Like you said, you said it, dude.
When I mean the bands, I don't think we're up
I think Exodus is in the Bay Area's Mount Rushmore.
Maybe in the Bay.
And you know, Forbidden is like dangling as the fifth one, right? So, or fourth and fifth. We're between there. So, but where I'm going with this is, I know we're a cult band. I know that we are a band that also influenced countless other bands that are very popular right now. There's going to be just as much excitement from musicians and friends and peers as there's going to be from these fans. And what people got to understand is why Forbidden faded out the first time is because not all 5 fingers on the fist was into it, you know. And Russ was going through it, and Mark was going through it. When he got Sasha Horn to play drums, who was great, but he was kind of thrown in there, and just like all of a sudden Russ said, "I can't do this anymore." So I respect that decision by Russ. Some people are going to be like, "Oh, what the fuck? It's not Forbidden without Russ." Let me tell you something. It will not be the same exactly, but it'll be a more enthusiastic and healthier version of the band right now that everyone's going to be super happy about that. And Norman Skinner is a fucking great singer. And I look forward to...
He's a great frontman.
He's a great frontman.
You see, the thing
they don't know him yet.
I know, and I do,
don't know.
because, I mean, I remember playing... he's been around 20 years playing with Skinner and all the bands that he's done.
Just for a local hero.
Right. And if you didn't live here, you wouldn't know that. But I mean, when I was informed of who was singing,
it made
I was like...
perfect sense, right?
I was like, bang!
Why didn't I think of that?
Really, I kind of like, no shit. I'm like, yeah. And so
you had to watch him do it in person to
fucking
make it like
I haven't really seen it necessarily, but on video. But other than that, because I wasn't at that either one. But I know the guy. I know his vocal talent. I know. So to me, it's like, again, you can't say that it's not Exodus with Bailoff or it's not Exodus with Rob Dukes. It's definitely Exodus with both of those guys. It's a different type of... All of 3 of us have a different attack. Norman may have a different... But it's still in the same vein. It's still in the same
here's the thing. We're in the same zip code now.
Right.
So, but here's the thing: you guys are enthusiastic, like each one of you, because that was what was missing. I mean, no knock on Russ, but he physically and mentally was just worn to a nub. He couldn't travel like he wanted to. He had to drink to play shows. He is sober as a stone now and living a really good life. So more power to him. So anybody that's like, it's not, I understand you're going to say things and there's going to be skeptical stuff, but you got to know 5 people moving the same direction is so much more powerful than the idea of what you want in your head and the ideal picture of, how many people say, hey, great example, Rick Unel should be back in Exodus.
Oh, I see it every day.
Every day. And I know Rick, and he's not, and he's like, he knows what's up. He's not clamoring for that. What about Rob McKillop? Where's he at? This goes on and on and on.
Question.
But this is the point. This goes on and on and on. You got to know. And the only guys that were in Forbidden, really the only guy that was in Forbidden since its inception is me. So I've seen all these people come and go. I've seen them come and go, guys.
Gary Holt too.
Yeah, Gary Holt.
Gary's the only guy that's been in this band for every single record from the beginning.
Every single house party, every single show. The only show that I didn't do was, as you know, Thrash of the Titans, because I was making a record and I could not fucking leave. And that broke my heart. I was supposed to be there at that, and I couldn't be there, and it broke my heart. But I was recording at $1,500 a day, dude. It was my turn. There's no shutting down the studio for a week of rehearsals.
His turn to go in debt.
Yeah, well, I'm not in debt now because we defunct the band, but that was man-making.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean.
Recoupable. So
sure it is.
Yeah, so these are the reasons why, and at this stage of my life, I'm not desperate for anything, Zed. I don't really care what people think. As you know, because I've been starting my own bands and climbing that ladder and fucking pushing the boulder up the hill. It's not about that for me. It's not about that.
I'm with you. I have like 5 other bands too.
Yeah.
So it's like.
I mean, right now my only other band is the Boneless Ones, and there's talk of possibly doing some more Demonica stuff.
That's cool.
That's in talks, and there's been nothing written. I've started writing lyrics for Forbidden songs. I've started conceptualizing music. I want to write with this group of guys. I love writing music with Chris Contos. I love it, and he has a cerebral part to his overview, which I think is a real benefit. Like in the wrong situation, Chris's talents aren't really put to the greatest of use, and part of his talent is that overview and song structures and big ideas, and it's like put him in a situation now where we can execute some of this shit, and I'm excited to see him like have the green light on some of these things that he thinks about, and he's a big part of this to me because I fucking love that guy. I've been working with him in the Boneless Ones for 2 years and have not had any fucking issues working through shit, and even if there's a moment of like fucking tension, it's been good tension. Maybe it's because we're all 50-something now. It's fucking kind of cool.
Okay, so we've spoke about Norman Skinner. We've spoke about Contos. Obviously, it's going to be Camacho and
Steve Smythe. It's
course,
Omega Wave.
So
it's my Omega Wave writing
Omega
part. Yep. It's got to be because you got to have all these people moving together. And Steve, and I don't know if your viewers may or may not know, but he's been through a horrific tragedy in the last few months. His wife passed away from cancer.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh my.
So when I approached him about a month ago or so, after we got this offer, and it was, he's been through a lot, dude, but it was exactly what he needed in the moment. And his wife's, 2 favorite bands were Forbidden and Death Angel. She's from England, remember Nikki?
Yeah.
And she, wanted him to do this. The first time, he told me a story that day that I never heard before, and this is the kind of fucking, I don't know, symmetry or whatever you want to say, whatever word it is. But he told me a story that when I got a hold of him the first time, 2009, when we needed to replace Glenn, he said the day before that, her brother had showed up at the house, Roland, who's a friend of ours too, and he had all these pictures of Forbidden.
I know Roland.
Yeah, all these pictures of Forbidden and Death
right?
Angel that he brought with him. Mm-hmm. All these pictures from when we played there in 1990, and he threw them all out, and then she took the picture of her, Tim Calvert, and myself, and put it on the piano because she was an expert concert pianist. Like she's a fucking really talented girl, and that was up on the fucking piano. And then I called the next day. And I'm like, you waited all these years to tell me? He's like, it just sounded too weird to say back then. It just sounded too weird for me to tell you that she just threw that picture of you up on the piano back then. But now he's like, it's just meant to be. She wanted this for me. This is what I should be doing. And I just said, hey, Steve, throw all of your emotions, all of your sorrow, whatever you've gone through into this and make something fucking
Is he here?
cathartic.
He was in.
He lives here now.
He's here now.
He
was in. We would play in London, and he would come to the shows. So Roland comes when we're in London.
Yeah, he's back in Santa Rosa.
Oh, he is.
So my whole band this time
everybody's
lives here.
Good.
This is part of my deal, dude. It's like, Steve was never a problem when he was in the band, but flying him in from England was, So now, where his headspace is he's working his way towards being completely engulfed in this for cathartic reasons. You know, it makes all the sense in the world to him.
Oh, well, music is therapy for fans that don't play it, let alone for those of us who create it, you know? So, I mean, I'm never going to go, well, you know, I'm not playing music anymore. I don't want to play music anymore. It's what I've been doing since forever, you know? It's what I do. I've been home off tour now for like a couple of months, and I'm already like, okay, been home long enough now. Time to go back.
Yeah,
you know, and that's part of it.
And that's another thing. I don't know what the future brings really necessarily. I can't plot it out perfectly because Forbidden was not so established that we could just dictate our own terms. But I do know that the way I see the music business today, and the way I see how to keep things fresh, I'm just going to be selective. We're all going to be selective about what we can say yes and no to, and it has to just make sense. And for me, important shows and writing a record are paramount. Before I get this band thrown into any kind of machine, I think we need to write an entire record. And
I think that with everything always.
Yeah.
The band's going to get back together and really prove it, and not act like just try to come and like we're going to go play shows and soak it up. Go do some new music. Give the fans something to go bite on new. Just don't talk about it, dude.
Yeah,
Definitely. And I like that.
What's important for me there, and again, this is Forbidden records were never easy tasks to write, and some of them took years. Omega Wave was about 1.5 years of writing. Twisted into Form they gave us like 4 months, and
that was the time then, though.
Yeah. It was. Well, and there as a consequence, there's only
5 records in 6 years. We don't do that anymore.
Well, we only had 7 real songs on Twisted into Form.
We don't do that anymore.
We had 2 instrumentals and 7 real songs, right? So so I'm looking at the big picture here. Just to rush that doesn't seem very prudent. Doesn't seem like a smart thing to do. But on the other hand, to put a priority on it is exactly what I'm going to do. So at the same time, I don't feel like it should be rushed. I feel like we absolutely have to get going on this thing and at least start the process. And that catharsism for
how to work
for Steve. And the other thing, people are going to be wondering, what's going to go on with the vocals? How are you going to do that? Russ and I worked really closely together, and I wrote most of the lyrics. He trusted me in that way. He liked what I had to say, my yin yang kind of philosophical lyrics. That battle, that good and evil, the album, Forbidden Evil album cover. I've been writing in terms of that mentally forever, and I see plenty of subject matter. That's another thing. One of the reasons why I want to do this, because I have that itch to write lyrics that I haven't been able to scratch in a lot of years. I want to, dig deeper into my own psyche, and because a lot of that shit is inner reflective stuff that I've written about. I mean, I look at some of the, Green is a lot of that. Green album's written about me and my mental state at the time. A lot of Omega Wave is written about all the fucking paranoia and conspiracy theories that I shuffled through over the years, And
but isn't that what music should be? Lyrics should be a reflection of how you feel and think, and those are the best lyrics.
Those are the best lyrics, but they're not always the lyrics. Some lyrics are fucking about the Hobbit. Led Zeppelin did a great job with that, but. Fantasy lyrics are cool.
I don't mind fantasy lyrics. When I first started writing Legacy, those were what I wrote. It wasn't until Exodus when I started writing the realistic stuff, really. And I had to learn that from Gary, kind of, because I was summoned to a house of seance, alone in the dark. Those were all fantasy shit,
Classic shit. So I had those demos, by the way. I had the cassette of all that. I got to tell you, I've known this guy. I obviously saw you for the first time in '85 at Ruthie's. But I've known you really since '86. At the beginning of '86, we met at a party at that Annihilation's Fast and Furious Studios.
I remember that, yeah. What was the guy, Pat, right?
Pat,
yeah.
Captain Caveman.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, bass player.
Yeah, and he walked out, when the party's over, he come out with a baseball bat and started slamming, all right, get the fuck out! And he just fucking loved Pat.
Yeah.
So, hey, there you go. I mean, it's out there, We got, and we haven't talked about Matt Camacho, who's the only other really original member of this band. He came in after John Taggio in '86, but he's been there for everything.
If you're on the first record, ding, you get that slice.
Right.
As far as anybody concerned, before the first album came out, is irrelevant. You might have some history in the band, but when the album is dropped, who's the bass player on it? It's been Matt. It's always been Matt. So
Well,
Matt's the bass player.
here's the other thing about Matt. He went unbeknownst to everybody else and fucking became a insanely good bass player, and spends hours crafting, working on tone. He's like an 8-finger player now, dude.
Good for him.
It's like
Good.
Victor Wooten is his favorite bass player.
It's
So
gonna be very exciting for all
yeah,
of us.
but I'm not gonna. I don't think we're gonna be doing 8-finger bass parts. Let me tell you. But I mean, you never know what he brings to the table when it comes to new material. But I'm very excited for how good he is. I've seen him and Chris work together because we did that for all those songs. You can see video on YouTube of basically that Forbidden lineup playing "Creeping Death," the last show that we did at the International Show at the Great American Music Hall. But we had Phil Demmel and also Mike DeLeon and
He's a beast.
Yeah, so we had four guitar players because me and Steve are on one side, and then Phil and DeLeon were on the other side, and Matt, and then Contos, and then Skinner. And there's a great video of him doing that International Show, the eye-opening show, and I'm sure there's video existing of him singing "Chalice of Blood," which is kind of that and "Creeping Death" were probably the two biggest showstoppers of the night.
Wow.
It was weird. It was fucking weird watching that happen.
Wow.
Bro. Can you imagine? You see, that's what you missed when you guys were on tour and you had to go the next day. But if you guys would have been standing there when we did Exodus Attack, and we were smart about what we chose. We did what Gary only left me so many options.
Metal Command, right?
Metal Command, Exodus Attack, and what was the third one? What was the third one?
I thought you did two.
Well, we might have
three.
only done two because we were relegated because Gary's we're gonna do maybe these ones. So I was like, okay, so I can't touch those. But when we did the one in the Bay Area, we did Deliver Us to Evil. We did.
It's always my favorite to play.
Yeah. It was amazing. What else did we do? We did not do Exodus Attack. We did. Fuck. Help me out. What else did we do?
Strike.
What's that?
Was it Strike?
What?
Strike
Strike of the Beast?
We did Strike of the Beast. Yeah, we did Strike of the Beast, and everything in E. Oh, and I might as well tell you guys, everything in E, the way it sounded on the record. There's something. I get it. It's hard. It's hard on the band. It sounds way heavier.
It's not hard on me.
It sounds.
I don't really care what tune they tune in. In fact, it doesn't matter. In fact, that never affects me actually. So
Okay, well then
that's
you're in a minority there because a lot of people don't like to sing up in that.
really.
A
It
lot of people
doesn't bug
don't.
me at all.
A lot of people don't. You know, but we did, and it was fucking. The energy was palpable as soon as you start playing those songs in that tuning because no one hears them anymore like that. Everything sounds so heavy. So it's heavy as fuck. Those songs, Forbidden Evil was written in E as well as Twisted Into Form. Everybody did. And when you do that shit in the right tuning, it's just, the ear just perks up. So we're going to, and I should cover this, and when we do Alcatraz, we're going to play Forbidden Evil in its entirety with a couple other songs on the outskirts of it.
Is that what they're asking for?
Well, it's the 35th anniversary of Forbidden Evil.
Alcatraz wants you to came to you and said,
No.
we would like you. You decided this.
No, they said we want to do it for the 30th. We can do whatever we want as a set, but it makes perfect sense to do the
Well,
whole record.
obviously.
Yeah, we haven't done As Good as Dead since probably 1989, so that'll be the first one we haven't done in a long time. So, yeah, we're gonna do the whole album in E. It's going to be in E, and I intend on writing a lot of music in E. I intend on not maybe the whole record, but I've got variety
E
now.
minor.
Yeah.
E.
Yeah, not and what is that? I know Exodus used to tune like 2 cents flat or something, so it would be just a little bit
You're
heavier.
talking to the singer. I don't know what the fuck they tune in.
Well,
I don't care.
Well, I found this out because during COVID, I was trying to figure. I did this thing where I figured out a song a day that I've never played before, and so I wanted to do Chemical one day, and I was like, "What the fuck is going on with this guitar?" I had to call Gary. He's, "Oh yeah, we're 2 cents flat." I'm like, "Why?" Van Halen did it. It's heavier. I'm like, "Okay." So I had to tune my guitar a little bit flat.
Did it work?
Oh
Right?
yeah, it
Did
was
you
perfect
feel
after
like it
that.
was the
Yeah,
way-
it was perfect after that. But it was just like a little thing. Your guitar tech hates you when you do shit like that. You know, they're like, "What the fuck?"
You did it, and then there were none.
Oh yeah, we did, and
I
then there
did
were
know
none
that.
too. And then there were nuns.
And then there were nuns.
And then there were nuns. So there we are.
There we are, man. I mean,
So there we are.
what else
You
is there to
guys
say?
You get to hear it first. I'm glad you came in here to do this. This is great news, so please share this with everybody else. I'm and Tim, when are we going to?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. So
This news comes out when you watch this. The day that this is going to be released is the day this news drops.
great. So we're filming it obviously on another day, but it's good. This is great news for all you heavy metal fans. Forbidden is back. It's great to be there. I'm glad you guys are back.
Thank you, man. And I'll say it's not a reunion, it's a rebirth.
Rebirth. So if you have not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit your like channel. Share this with everybody. Leave me and Walter comments because we'll definitely get into an episode of comments. But big news on the block this week is Forbidden's back. So I think that makes the Bay Area thrash scene pretty full now.
All six.
You have
All five.
Possessed,
Yeah, six, yeah.
Violence,
7.
Forbidden, Exodus, Testament, Metallica, and Death Angel. Everybody's back.
And Heathen, Mordred.
Heathen.
Heathen and Mordred.
Heathen Mordred still do it. Yeah,
Blind Illusion.
Yes, that's right.
I'm fucking late.
So everybody's back. So Bay Area thrash is stronger than ever as we're getting older. I think we're getting a little bit more cantankerous, and we know the time is short. So let him who hath understanding reckon the Bay
number.
Area thrash scene, because it is alive and well, is it not?
It is now. It has been for years now. I'm jumping back in the water, baby.
I'm glad you got. Well, I'm not going to be a dick and say it, but I'm going to be a dick and say it. I've been saying it for years, and you know I have. Sorry,
Yeah, but Norman Skinner didn't.
So I don't know.
Skinner didn't bless us with that
I just know
awesomeness.
what I want, and I just say to the guy who I know is the guy that I say what I want. So it doesn't mean he's going to make me a chocolate cake, but if I know he makes good chocolate cake, I'm going to say, would you please make some of that killer chocolate cake?
I know someone who does.
I know somebody who makes fudge. Anyway, we'll get into that. So thanks for coming.
Is it a
in
Keebler
today.
elf by any chance?
No, he's a Portuguese lead singer. Anyway, thank you guys for coming in. Forbidden is back, and leave your comments, and we'll get to them, and we'll see you next time down on Zetro's Toxic Vault.
See you guys.
What's up, everybody? Zetro here, and I just got off the road with Exodus, and you know what? I sold so many bottles of Zetro's Toxic Shock. It's my own hot sauce made by the Hella Hot Hot Sauce Company. Now, I know some of you people that bought it on the road were asking, dude, I went through it already, and I wondered where I can get it. You can go to HellaHotHotSauce.com and order some more if you went through it already. Now, this stuff is good on eggs, pizza, obviously Mexican food. It's good on everything. It's got a nice, good flavor to it, little hot, but it's got a really good flavor to it. So, and if you want to try it and haven't tried it, go to HellaHotHotSauce.com and get yourself some Zetro's Toxic Shock today.